Welcome to the 1 to 99 Ranged Guide. Today you're going to learn everything you need to know about the Ranged skill, one of the most important and popular skills in all of old school RuneScape. This guide contains the fastest method to 99, the most profitable method to 99, the most AFK method to 99, a free-to-play route to 99, and all of the other alternative methods to train this skill. And if you happen to need any more 99 guides, check out the 99 skill playlist on this channel. And before we get into the methods, this is important to the entire guide and not just a specific method, but go to the training tutor and make sure the arrows you pick up will go into your ammo slot if they're the same type as the ones you're currently carrying. And I urge you as soon as possible, complete animal magnetism for the Ava's devices if you're a member, saving millions on your way to 99 ranged and auto collecting your arrows for you when you shoot them. Now let's jump into the fastest way to 99 ranged. Early levels can be skipped by completing quests that give ranged experience. Completing Shadow of the Storm and putting the experience reward on ranged, Death to the Dorgashin, and Horror from the Deep will grant a total of 16,662.5 experience in ranged. This will get you from level 1 to 32. The level 40 ranged requirement for Temple of Ikov can be bypassed by wielding knives or darts whilst wielding ice arrows, allowing for a further 10,500 experience, which will get you to level 36 ranged in total. From level 32 to 45 or from level 1 to 45 if you skip quests, using the Dwarf Multi-Cannon offers the fastest experience up to level 45. You must have completed the Dwarf Cannon quest in order to use the Dwarf Multi-Cannon, but there are no level requirements to use one. The cannon has a lot higher damage output compared to other options at low levels, as it has a max hit of 30 with cannonballs, or 35 if you use granite cannonballs, regardless of your range level. With the average price of cannonballs, however, using the cannon can be quite expensive if you're a new player. There are three main options of what to cannon. Training Slayer efficiently grants you some passive ranged experience from using the Dwarf Multi-Cannon. It is always worth using the cannon wherever applicable, as the cost of using the cannon is justified by the saved time compared to not using one. A melee task can take almost twice as long if not using the cannon. For example, in multi-combat areas such as during Dagenoff and Calfight tasks, the cannon will deal most of the damage, while you're able to get nearly as much melee experience as you would without using a cannon. Should you not be able to afford to use the cannon, it is better to make the money for the cannonballs than train Slayer without the cannon, as you save so much more time. Ogres can be killed in the combat training camp after completing Biohazard. Using a cannon here is quite a lot of XP, and can lead to relatively quick leveling at early levels. This is a great method for low levels, as there are no level requirements to use the cannon. Cannoning Ice Trolls is a slower but much more affordable option. If you've completed the Fremnik Trials quest, setting up a cannon a few steps south of the Coal Rocks, just west of the Eastern Mining Icon in the Fremnik Isles, will allow you to save spot the ice trolls from behind the rocks and refill your cannon with little trouble. You can get 60,000 to 100,000 experience per hour whilst making most, if not all, of your money back. It's recommended to be able to use telegraph so you don't have to incur damage retrieving drops, and to be able to low or high alch drops. If using low alch, it is best to save the rune items, granted shields, as well as expensive seeds and herbs, noted raw sharks, and balls of wool to sell on the Grand Exchange, while alching the rest. Food is not necessary, but a small amount should be brought to be safe. If you're a lower level player though, you should beware, as without Protect from melee, ice trolls can hit in the 20s while you run to the safe spot. The most effective strategy is to bring enough cannonballs to allow you to acquire a full inventory of non-alched items before banking or teleporting to the Grand Exchange with a Ring of Wealth. Once you've hit level 45 ranged, from 45 to 99, throwing Chinchampas, commonly known as chinning, at Maniacal Monkeys is the fastest way to train ranged. Maniacal Monkeys are located in Krook's Dungeon on Ape Atoll, which requires having started Chapter 2 of the quest Monkey Madness 2 to access. While chinning is much faster than any other methods, it also costs money. It is best to use equipment that maximizes your ranged damage and prayer bonuses, because of the low defense of the Maniacal Monkeys. Void Knight equipment is far superior to Dragonhide or Armadillo armor due to the damage boosting set effect. Maniacal Monkeys frequently drop 1-dose prayer potions, which negates the cost of using Protect for melee and damage boosting prayers. Those of you who have completed hard tasks in the Mortania Diary and have level 70 prayer can alternatively use a Bone Crusher necklace to restore your prayer points. Experience rates are as follows. At level 45, you'll get 290,000 experience an hour here. At level 55, you'll get 430k an hour. 65, 690k ranging XP an hour. At 85, you'll get 930k an hour. And at level 95, you'll break the million mark, making it exactly 1 million XP an hour. And lastly, at level 99, you'll get 1,030,000 experience an hour. These rates assume you're wearing the best damage boosting equipment available, using Rigor, using 2 dancing accounts to stack the monkeys, using divine ranging potions, using the best Chinchompa and throwing 1,970 Chinchampas an hour. With Eagle Eye, the rates would be roughly 5 to 7% lower. Of course, if you don't have dancing accounts or less DPS equipment, you'll have less experience per hour, but it'll still be the fastest method to 99 regardless. Now, the fastest method is extremely expensive, so what about a profitable method to 99 ranged? The profitable method requires you to do some PVM, so you're going to want some starting levels. To start the profitable route to 99, do the quests listed in the fastest way to 99 section. This will start you at 32 range, and ready for our most profitable methods. From level 32 to 75, you'll want to kill revenants in the wilderness. Before heading there, you'll need to gear in your best, cheap ranged gear with a bracelet of Ethereum charged with 100 revenant ether, and a one-click teleport. Since the wilderness is a PvP area, when you die you'll lose all but 3 items, and stacks all count as separate items, so if you're not careful about your risk management, you could lose a lot more than you intend. Be sure to turn on PvP skull protection in the settings too, in case you get skull tricked somehow. To actually get there, use a Ring of Dueling teleport to Ferox Enclave, or the minigame teleport to Last Man Standing. Then leave the Enclave from the west exit and run west until you see a cave. There's a whole host of revenants to pick, but the rough rundown is that the higher level revenants that give better loot are in higher wilderness levels, or have higher defenses. If starting this at level 32 ranged, then stick to the Revenant Pyrofiend, Goblins, and Imps. Once you get to the higher levels, you can move up to the Revenant Demons, Giants, and Cyclops. Revenants also count as undead creatures. Completing the Haunted Mine and Lair of Tarn Razlor and having 750,000 Nightmare Zone points will allow you to get the Salve EI for 20% extra DPS against all undead monsters. Once you've managed to hit 75 ranged, you'll want to acquire the best crossbow you can afford and the best ranged armor you can afford, because it's time to go bossing. There's a whole host of bosses you can kill with only range, but all of them have differing requirements based on what you're willing to grind out. So instead of me telling you exactly where to go, I'll list the top 5 range only bosses with their money per hour and requirements. And before we talk about bosses, another necessary information piece is you'll need to have protection prayers unlocked, so if you don't have that yet, do it now. First up, we have Leviathan, an incredibly fun boss unlocked after completing Desert Treasure 2. He clocks in at 5.6 million GP per hour profit and should be done with the best crossbow you have access to. Second is General Gordor, aka Bandos. The range method for this boss is using a crossbow with the 6-to-0 method, which is too complicated to explain in this guide, so look up a video if you plan to do Bandos. The requirements for this is 70 strength to enter his stronghold, and Edgar's Ruse or combat achievements to teleport to Trollheim. This method clocks in at 4.9 million GP an hour as of this guide's creation time. Third is Commander Ziliana, aka Sarah Dahlman, or Sarah for short. This boss requires 70 agility to enter her stronghold, and since this is in God War's dungeon like Bandos, you'll need a way to get to Trollheim too. This method clocks in at 4.4 million GP an hour profit. Fourth and fifth are trips back to the wilderness. The methods here will be killing Callisto and Arshio, not actually requiring any stats, but it will require you to know your way around escaping PKers and not bringing too much risk. If possible, you also want to get a Webweaver's bow as opposed to your crossbow, as it has extra damage against wilderness monsters and will be your best slot ranged weapon for any wilderness activity. Callisto is 3.5 million GP per hour, while Arshio is 2.9 million GP an hour. These numbers are because Callisto is too high wilderness to teleport instantly and has higher health, leading to an actual run having to be made to escape. Arshio is less money, but you can teleport instantly from his cave and he's lower hit points. You won't die often, but you won't be making as much money for sure here. Now, making the most overall profit and getting the fastest 1 to 99 is incredibly awesome. But what if you just wanted to AFK your way to 99? Well, here's how you do it. From 1 to 70 range, killing crabs is an AFK-able and relatively cheap way of training ranged at lower levels. There are 4 types of crabs you can train on, but they all have high hit points, very low defense, and deal minimal damage. They become aggressive when walked by and stay aggressive for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you have to reset aggressiveness by running away far enough, usually a mini-map's length away. You should always choose a spot that makes 2 or 3 spawns aggressive at the same time. If you're waiting for respawns, consider switching to a denser spawn or higher hit points crab. Now, if you're a lower level with lower level defense and gear, if you're taking too much damage from too many crabs, consider moving to a smaller spawn or lower hit points crab. Having at least 30 defense is recommended before starting range training on these monsters to mitigate the damage if your goal is entirely to do it AFK. There are a few options for crabs to kill for this method. Ammonite crabs on Fossil Island. They have 100 hit points, making making them the best option of the 4 for mid to high level accounts. They also drop unidentified fossils, which can be turned in for experience lamps in the Varrock Museum after cleaning. They are usually very crowded. Swamp crabs. Swamp crabs on the southeastern coast of Port Phasmatis. They have 75 hit points and are weak to ranged, and reside in a multi-combat zone. Sand crabs on Husidius. They have 60 hit points and have no quest requirements, but are usually very crowded. Rock crabs on Relica. They also have no quest requirements and are usually less crowded than sand and ammonite crabs, but they only have 50 hit points. And the recommended weapons are the highest level throwing knives available up to rune. They have the highest damage output, but they are significantly more expensive compared to other options. A magic shortbow imbued, or use shortbow below level 50 with rune arrows. This offers slightly less damage output than using rune knives, but it is a lot cheaper. Amethyst arrows can be used with a magic shortbow imbued for extra damage. However, they are notably more expensive compared to rune. The highest level darts available up to mithril, or adamant. They are cheap, deal decent damage, and are easy to buy from the Grand Exchange. Adamant darts only slightly outdamage a shortbow with rune arrows, so you should use whichever is cheaper. Rune darts can also be used for a slight damage increase, but they are significantly more expensive than adamant darts. Dorgishan crossbow with bone bolts. This offers the worst damage output compared to above options, but is usually the cheapest. However, steel or mithril darts are usually comparable in terms of cost, and they offer much higher damage output. Using other crossbows is not recommended due to their slower attack speed, which makes them worse in damage output compared to darts or magic shortbow imbued with rune arrows. Since the crabs have very low defense, having the highest possible accuracy bonuses is not too important, as accuracy has minimal effect on damage output. At low levels, it is still a good idea to at least upgrade the body and leg slot equipment as you level, since they give the most accuracy and defense bonuses of all the slots. Start out by wearing a leather cowl, leather body, leather band braces, and leather chaps if you're level 1. Other options but useful items also include an Amulet of Glory and a combat bracelet. I highly suggest wearing those if you have the money for them. The cannoning shown in the fastest experience section of the guide is significantly more experience and also relatively AFK, only requiring you to fill up the cannon every 30 cannonballs. This amount can also be increased with the medium, hard, and elite combat achievements. From level 70 to 99, using the normal customizable rumble setup of Count Draenor from Vampire Slayer, Sand Snake from the Depths of Despar, King Ronald from What Lies Below, the Kendall from the Mountain Daughter, and the Khazard Warlord from Trino Village, a Nightmare Zone is a viable AFK training method for Ranged. With this method, you do not need to interact with the client for 20 minutes, after which you will stop attacking the monsters if you don't. Using a magic shortbow imbued, an amethyst or rune arrows with super ranging potion and absorption potions will cap you at around 60 to 70,000 experience per hour with minimal cost and barely any attention required. Higher rates can be achieved by using the toxic blowpipe, but this is not recommended due to significantly higher cost unless you do not care about the GP. The Venator bow is also another good and moderately cheap option for training in Nightmare Zone, which almost always has at least 2 monsters available to attack, which enables the full potential of the bow. At current Ancient Essence prices, it will cost roughly 15,000 GP an hour to use the Venator bow. Note that 1x1 and 2x2 bosses are preferred. Any bosses occupying a 3x3 space or larger can cause attacks to not ricochet, which will drastically reduce your experience per hour whilst using this bow. You should stand with your back against the wall, since having a 2x2 monster on either side of you can also interrupt a ricochet. Starting at level 80 range, you can expect to gain around 120,000 experience per hour with super ranging potions and rune arrows. There's also a ton of alternative methods to train your ranged that are extremely viable that you are going to want to know about, like chinning skeletal monkeys. Skeletal monkeys are an alternative to maniacal monkeys, if you haven't started Monkey Madness 2. However, they are significantly worse than maniacal monkeys and thus only recommended for pure accounts who cannot access the maniacal monkey area. If chinning at skeletal monkeys on Ape Atoll, it is highly recommended you use ranged void armor. The Salve Amulet EI is also highly recommended when chinning skeletal monkeys. The respective boosts from the void and the Salve Amulet EI will stack, giving you a 30% boost to damage and accuracy. If using Hawkeye or Eagle Eye, the boost will become 40% to 45%. Eagle Eye drains prayer points at twice the rate of Hawkeye, so the more frequent trips for prayer potions may make Eagle Eye counterproductive. Do not forget a one-click teleport or a Grigri. Cannoning Dagenoffs. From 75 to 99 ranged, cannoning Dagenoff from under the lighthouse after completion of Horror from the Deep quest is a fast but expensive method of training ranged. Using a blowpipe and mithril darts with with the cannon, you can reach experience rates from 160 to 175,000 per hour. A quick tip is world hopping may be needed due to other players doing Slayer tasks. Protect for melee with the blowpipe special attack limits the need for banking for food. Dagenoffs do drop Snapdragon and Torsal Seeds to help mitigate the cost for prayer potions and cannonballs. Higher defense levels may help limit the damage from Dagenoffs using ranged attacks, but such Dagenoffs are already very inaccurate. Blowpiping Slayer monsters. Using a toxic blowpipe for Slayer training is not considered efficient to do. However, it is an option for those of you who do not value gaining melee or magic experience and want some variety during your training. The benefit of ranging Slayer tasks is that it's relatively decent ranged experience per hour, and it also results in slightly higher Slayer experience rates as the blowpipe offers slightly higher damage output compared to most melee weapons. Training ranged whilst on a task also enables you to use the Slayer helmet imbued for a 15% boost to ranged accuracy and damage, while also taking advantage of the accuracy bonuses of Dragon Hide or Armadillo armor. However, using the blowpipe is expensive, although this can be somewhat mitigated by monster drops. Using other weapons is not recommended, as they have less damage output than using melee. Pest Control. Playing Pest Control and spending Void Knight commendation points on ranged experience provides respectable experience rates. A combat level of at least 100 to use the Veteran Lander, and completion of the easy, medium, and hard combat achievements is highly recommended to increase the number of points earned per game. Assuming you earn about 40,000 experience per hour from fighting pests, complete 26 successful veteran games per hour, and spend points at the Void's Knight reward option shop in batches of 100 for the 10% bonus experience, and have the easy and medium combat tasks achieved. The overall experience rates are as followed. At level 70 to 73, you'll see 91.2k experience per hour. From 74 to 77, it's 97.6k an hour. Increasing all the way until from 98 to 99, you'll see 142.5 thousand experience per hour. Did you know that there's a few Discord servers that are dedicated on giving GP out? One way players make a lot of GP without necessarily playing in game is by entering giveaways that usually occur on YouTube videos, streams, social media posts, or Discord servers. Here's an example of a giveaway-based Discord server that gives hundreds of millions of GP, if not billions of GP away weekly. Everything they do is completely free to enter, and they also track any Twitch streamers that have giveaway in their title and have a notifier for anyone who's interested in that type of content. I'll leave a link in the description for those of you guys who want to join and have a passive way to make some GP. And lastly, for those of you guys who are only in free-to-play, I want to mention straight off the bat, only use short bows with the best arrows you can shoot if you can afford it. The info on the best arrows and bows can shoot can be found in the skill guide by clicking your ranged skill in game. From ranged levels 1 to 30, accurate style is better than rapid when the +3 ranged bonus increases your maxed hit with the arrows you are using. However, this is only the case for around 40% of the arrow and level combinations in this level range. So most of the time, rapid is faster experience. After around level 30 ranged, rapid becomes better damage per second than accurate for all levels beyond, as the +1 max hit damage becomes less and less good in terms of the percentage of damage it contributes to your damage per second, compared to the flat 33.3% increase from using rapid. From level 1 to 20, train on cows, chickens, and goblins in Lumbridge. From range levels 21 to 25, barbarians at Barbarian Village are a good in-between monster for cows and giant frogs. From level 26 to 56, giant frogs are the fastest experience, with their high 23 hit points and low 6 defense. They can be found in the Lumbridge Swamp. From range levels 57 to 99, moss giants provide the highest possible experience. They have higher defenses than giant frogs and flesh crawlers, but also have 60 hit points. They can be found in the innermost part of the Varrock sewers, Crandor, and in the wilderness, with the experience rate at 72 ranged in free-to-play at Moss Giants being about 35 to 37,000 experience per hour, using optimal equipment with adamant arrows and not collecting drops or arrows. And now, you are a master at the ranged skill. Thank you so much for reaching this far in the video. And as a little gift, I'm going to toss one of you guys 20,000 black chinchompas to start your 99 ranged journey. Just like the video, leave your RuneScape name in the comment section below so I know how to contact you, and be sure to subscribe. And if you're curious about how to get any other 99, you've got to check out the other 99 guides I've made, linked right on the screen now.